All right, we're live. Hey, Facebook. Happy Thursday. This is Edmund. I'm here with Jennifer and Cindy. We're the attorneys at Amity Law Group. We wanted to make a video today that is of great concern in our community, especially with COVID-19. So let me pull up my slides really quick. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to handle a chronic illness and what are the 3 estate planning steps that you need to take to protect your family. So give me 1 moment. I'm trying to pull up my deck. All right, here we go. So for all of us with families, we want our families and ourselves to be okay. And that's why we create estate plans, right? To protect our families. And it's also good to protect ourselves from the unexpected injury or the illness. But planning your estate can be even harder for yourself, your husband, your spouse, when you're dealing with a chronic illness. So it's not uncommon to have cancer, Parkinson's, and diabetes. And for those of you who are out there who do suffer from these chronic illnesses, our hearts are with you. And that's why we're creating this video today and in serving our community to make sure that you have the knowledge and the information to take the right actions for your family. And with chronic illnesses, your estate plan needs so much more care and attention. You can't just go online and do it yourself, or just do it as a transaction with a law firm. It needs to be handled with care. So in today's video, we're going to share 3 steps for those who have chronic illnesses to take in order to protect themselves and their families today. And if you don't know us, we are the attorneys at Amity Law Group. Our practice, for the most part, focuses on estate planning and probate. And we're open virtually right now because of the pandemic. So if you'd like to schedule a free consultation with us, let us know and we'd be happy to help you. So let's start with the first step. Cindy, can you help us with the first step?
Yeah, so the first step is just setting up the basics, a complete estate plan. This is really critical, especially if you are dealing with a chronic illness. So a lot of estate plans, a lot of the best estate plan is, it remains the same for people with chronic illnesses. So for example, you want to make sure you have a healthcare directive. That is where you appoint someone you can trust to make your medical decisions and to make your medical treatment preferences known. Also, what medications that you are taking, what your allergies are, what you can handle due to your chronic illness, what you can't handle. So this is where you want to make sure you disclose everything that you're dealing with as you're suffering from the chronic illness. Second thing is the HIPAA release form. This is where you authorize your family to obtain your medical records so that they can make the best decisions for you. So if you're dealing with chronic illness, that means that you've got a long history of medical records. And you want to make sure that you've got that HIPAA release in place so that wherever you end up, your doctors know your medical history, which is really important for them to continue your care. The next thing is power of attorney, appointing someone you trust to manage your finances and apply for government benefits. Make sure that your family aren't locked out of your bank accounts or that they can continue to pay for your bills, especially if you own a home. You want to make sure that that mortgage is paid and you're not being foreclosed on because you've been ill in a hospital and aren't able to make those payments. The last thing is, of course, to set up your living trust. Ensure that your family will receive your assets, all the money that you've worked so hard for, all the assets that you've managed. make sure that they receive it without delay and or the cost of probate. The cost of probate is typically over $34,000 for homeowners in Los Angeles, which is really high. That's because we have really high home values here. The unpredictability and progression of your chronic illness adds more urgency to getting your estate planning done and to get it done right. There are certain nuances that you must plan for that only an experienced estate planning attorney can help you set up. So I would not recommend anyone doing it on their own. This is something that you want to get done right, and you just don't want to, it's not something you want to mess around with.
Yeah, and I think second of all, if you are facing a chronic illness, you want to make sure that, you can try to keep as much money in the family as much as possible, right? And you don't want to have to deplete all your assets to pay for your medical bill or nursing home. So how do you do that? One thing is you might want to consider Medi-Cal, applying for Medi-Cal to cover the cost of long-term care. So Medi-Cal really, there are certain things that you need to be aware of, and how do you qualify, like that. Usually you need to have limited income and limited assets. Generally speaking, you do qualify and you're eligible even if you do have ownership to a property, and that property has to be your personal residence, your primary residence, and that's fine for eligibility purposes. We as a firm speak to a lot of clients, if they're facing this type of concern, they do come to us to discuss future planning. We have incidents where clients come to us. It could be the children with elderly parents who have declining health, and they're concerned about, what are the future aspects and what are they looking at, to help care for their parents. And so we'll discuss, how to help them qualify for Medi-Cal. And it could be spending down your assets, number one. It could be gifting certain assets out of the parent's name, or the elderly or the chronic person, the person who's suffering from chronic illness. Or we help them perhaps set up an irrevocable trust in order to basically take these assets out of their individual names in order for them to qualify for an irrevocable trust or qualify for Medi-Cal. Excuse me. So these are the things that we can help with our clients. It's a long-term discussion. And as Cindy said, these things are not something that we would recommend to do it yourself, because there are a lot of nuances to it and different type of regulations in order to qualify. And also, Medi-Cal, there is a look back period. So currently for California, it's 30 months. So let's say, you decide to plan now and you take these actions now, you would likely have to apply 30 months from now before you're considered eligible, because, they don't want people just gifting out their assets or changing the name entitled to these assets and be able to qualify right away. So there are certain rules and regulations that you have to keep in mind in order to make sure that your family and the person who is suffering from this chronic illness can qualify for these type of government benefits. Another thing also to keep in mind is, as I said earlier, the person who is able to qualify for Medi-Cal, he or she can own a house. So your primary residence, you can have one under your name and be able to qualify for Medi-Cal. But you have to keep in mind, if you have spent any benefits provided by Medi-Cal and you pass away, then there's what's called a Medi-Cal recovery. So the government can come back and say, hey, you spent $100,000 in Medi-Cal benefits. We want to recover that from you. And so if when you pass away, your house is still under your own name, then they have that right to basically claim the $100,000 that you spent back from the sale of your house. And so we have means to make sure that, that doesn't happen, because a lot of times, for all of us, your house really is your biggest asset. So we want to make sure that Medi-Cal does not have the right to recover from your property. And so you can do that by setting up a living trust, and Medi-Cal can only recover what they paid for from your care, and only if those assets end up in probate. So in order to avoid probate, you can put your house into a living trust. That'll avoid probate, and so that will in effect protect that house from being subject to Medi-Cal recovery. So these are really, really important, kind of, not only eligibility, but also asset protection, avoiding your family from having to deplete their assets to pay for medical bills. So these are really important things that we can help with in order to protect your assets, but at the same time, be able to manage your family member who has this chronic illness.
Thank you, Jennifer. And step number 3 is prepare your family. So the first thing you should do in this regard is choose the right person or the right people that you trust most to take care of your needs. So as Cindy mentioned, it's very important that you have a healthcare directive, a power of attorney, a HIPAA form, as well as a living trust. And all those documents are great, but they're only pieces of paper. You need people to step in to execute those wishes. So that's your healthcare agent. That's your agent for power of attorney. That's your trustee. So choose someone you trust and who can actually step in if something happens to you during this process of having a chronic illness. And also talk to them about your wishes and preferences. We always encourage our clients to set up family meetings with their family, so then their family knows what they want and what their preferences are, and also going through the estate planning documents with them. And so tell them where the documents are, because when they need these documents most, they must be able to find it. Although we provide our clients with free online storage of their estate plans, many times you need the original copies for specific situations. So you want to make sure that you tell them where your estate planning documents are so that they can step in and take care of you if they need to. And finally, prepare them emotionally. Spend more time with them. So estate planning, a lot of times people just see it as pieces of paper, but it's really what happens when your family needs it most. And so you need to prepare them emotionally, mentally, spiritually, so then they are prepared that if something happens to you, they'll know what to do. They'll know what to do when they step in, and they're at this more emotionally stable level where they can make the best decisions for you. And of course, spend more time with them. Life's short, as we all know, and so any chance you get, spend it with them. I know that right now we're on lockdown, unfortunately, but fortunately there's FaceTime, there's other ways that we can really connect with the ones we love most. So take this time of solitude to spend more time reaching out to them and telling them how much you love them. So as a recap, here are the 3 steps. You set up the basics. You need a complete estate plan to protect yourself and your family. And number 2, get government benefits if you qualify, so you can keep more money in the family and not deplete your assets paying for medical bills and nursing care. And number 3, prepare your family so they have the mental and emotional space to celebrate your life and carry on your legacy. And here at Amity, we do things very different. We have the total protection estate plan. All of our plans are customized to make sure you have that peace of mind knowing your plan is personalized to you and your family, so you can protect them. And another difference is we provide families with what's called family care meetings. So your family can come to our office, sit down with us, ask us questions, and so they can be prepared with the information that they need. And number 3 is we provide annual reviews at no extra cost. So your plan works when your family needs it most. So if you like to see how we can help your family, we invite you to schedule a free consultation with us where we can talk about these issues with you and more, and make sure that your family is protected. All right, that's it for today. We wish you nothing but the best. Please stay safe. I know that the world can seem pretty chaotic right now, but keep being positive and keep delivering hope to your families. We'll talk to you next week.